They say you always remember the night your life splits into two, before and after. For me, it was the night the air itself seemed to breathe against my skin, thick with a presence I couldn't name. I had lived my whole life in Ashwood, a quiet town where secrets hid in the fog rolling off the river. People whispered stories about creatures that prowled the forests, about bloodlines older than the town itself. But I never believed any of it. I was just ordinary, or at least I thought I was. That night, I was closing the cafe where I worked. The streets were empty, the kind of silence that makes you feel like the world is holding its breath. My shoes clicked against the pavement as I headed home, the lamps flickering one by one like they didn't want me to see too clearly. I remember pulling my jacket tighter, the autumn air bit sharper than usual, almost metallic. And then, just as I crossed the old bridge, I felt it. A stare. Not the casual glance of someone passing by. No. This was heavier, piercing. My chest tightened as if invisible fingers were pressing against my ribs. I turned, but the street behind me was empty. Still. I knew I wasn't alone. I quickened my pace, muttering to myself to keep calm, to be rational. But my body knew what my mind denied. Someone was there, watching, waiting, and then he stepped out from the shadows. At first, all I saw were his eyes, dark but lit with something that caught the dim streetlight, like embers refusing to die out. The kind of gaze that could see through you, past your words, past your lies, straight into your soul. He didn't move closer. He didn't have to. The bond of his presence reached me where I stood, pulling, tightening, making it impossible to breathe. I should have run. Every instinct screamed at me to turn and flee. But instead, I froze. And in that frozen second, I noticed things no human should notice. The way the night seemed to bend around him. The faint glint of sharpness when his lips parted as though a secret waited there. The raw, restless energy rolling off him like heat from a wildfire. When he finally spoke, his voice was low, steady, but threaded with warning. You shouldn't be out here alone. The words should have been simple, harmless. But they weren't. They curled through me like smoke, leaving me shaken, unsteady. I forced myself to answer, though my voice was a whisper. Why? His gaze locked on mine. For a moment, the world narrowed to just us, the empty street. The aching silence and that unspoken truth hanging between us, because some things in Ashwood, he said slowly, aren't meant to be seen by you. And then he turned, vanishing back into the shadows as if he had never been there at all. I stood rooted to the spot, my heart pounding against my ribs. My breath came in shallow bursts, and every nerve in my body hummed like it had been rewired. Who was he? I didn't sleep that night. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw those ember-lit eyes staring through me. Every sound outside my window made me jump. And deep inside, though I tried to deny it, something stirred. Not just fear, something else. Curiosity. Pull hunger. The next morning, Ashwood looked the same. Kids rushed to school. The bakery filled the air with the scent of bread. And old Mrs. Porter watered her roses like she always did. But I wasn't the same, because I knew someone was out there, watching, knowing me in a way no one ever had. And the strangest part? Somewhere inside me, I already knew. I wanted to see him again, even if it meant stepping into a world I wasn't meant to survive. The next day, couldn't focus on anything. Every clang of dishes in the cafe, every laugh of customers, every tick of the clock hit, all blurred into background noise. My mind was trapped in the memory of that man on the bridge, the weight of his eyes still pressing against me like a secret I wasn't supposed to carry. I didn't even know his name, but I couldn't forget the way the night itself seemed to move with him. By evening, I convinced myself it had been nothing more than exhaustion and imagination. Maybe he was just some stranger passing through, someone I'd never see again. That's what I told myself as I left work and walked the familiar road toward home. But deep down, I already knew better. Halfway across the bridge, I felt it. Not a sound, not a movement, just presence. The same invisible pull tightening in my chest. My pulse skipping in recognition. He was here. I slowed, trying to act normal, though my breath caught when I saw him leaning against the iron railing. The wind tugged at his dark hair, and for a moment he looked almost human, almost ordinary. But I knew better now. "You came back," I said before I could stop myself. My voice carried too much, like I was admitting something I shouldn't. His lips curved, not quite a smile, not quite a warning. "I told you, you shouldn't be out here." I swallowed hard. And yet, here you are. His eyes flickered with something sharp, and I felt it ripple through me. Dangerous, magnetic. He pushed off the railing, closing the space between us with quiet steps. I should have backed away. Instead, I held my ground, though my body screamed with awareness. "You're not afraid of me." His voice was low, almost questioning. I wanted to lie, but the truth slipped out instead. I should be that almost smile again. "Yes, you should." Silence stretched between us, filled only by the river rushing below. My heart hammered, but not just from fear. It was something else, something I didn't want to name. Finally, I forced out the question burning in me. "What are you?" He tilted his head slightly, studying me like I was the puzzle instead of him. For a second, I thought he wouldn't answer. Then, in a voice rough with restraint, he said, "Someone you were never meant to meet." The words struck deeper than they should have, leaving me cold and restless at the same time. "Then why am I here? Why now?" I whispered. His eyes darkened, and for the first time I saw conflict in them, like two parts of himself were at war. He stepped closer, so close I could feel the heat rolling off him, sharp against the night chill. "Because," he said, barely above a growl, "fate doesn't care what I want." A shiver ran through me. Fate. The word wrapped around my mind, heavy with meaning I didn't yet understand. He turned away suddenly, gripping the railing like he needed to anchor himself. His shoulders tensed, his jaw clenched tight. I could sense the storm in him, like the air before lightning splits the sky. "You need to leave," he said at last, his voice strained. "If you value your life, stay away from me." Something inside me cracked at those words, because even as he warned me, I heard the truth buried beneath. He didn't want me to go. I took a careful step forward. "What if I can't?" He whipped around then, eyes blazing with something wild, something inhuman. For a heartbeat, I saw the predator lurking beneath his skin, the outline of fangs caught in the dim light, the unnatural sharpness of his movements. Fear flooded me, raw and undeniable. But tangled with it was something far more dangerous, a pull I couldn't resist. His chest rose and fell, ragged, like he was fighting a war inside himself. Then he took one step closer. The night seemed to close in, the world shrinking to just the space between us. "You don't understand," he said, his voice low, trembling with restraint. "If I let myself, I won't stop." My pulse stuttered, heat rushing through me despite the warning in his tone. Every nerve screamed at me to run, yet I stayed rooted, caught in the gravity of him. "Then show me," I whispered before I could think. For the briefest moment, his expression broke in gore, pain, desire, all clashing in one tortured look. His hand lifted, fingers brushing the air near my face, but never touching, like he was burning himself on the thought alone. And then he vanished. One second he was there, the next he was gone, swallowed by the shadows so quickly I questioned if he had been real at all. The night fell silent again. The air felt empty, stripped of the charge that had wrapped around me. But I knew the truth now. He wasn't human. And whatever bound him to me, it wasn't done. I didn't see him for 3 days. 3 long nights of restless sleep, of hearing the wind outside my window and imagining it was his breath at my ear. 3 mornings where I told myself I'd dreamed it all, only to feel that same hollow ache in my chest reminding me it had been real. But on the 4th night, he found me. I was walking home from the cafe when the world tilted. My body went rigid, my pulse racing as heat spread beneath my skin, sudden and sharp. It felt like fire running through my veins. I stumbled against the wall, gasping for air. "Dot, And then he was there, emerging from the shadows, his face hard, his movements too fast. Too precise to be human. "Don't fight it," he said, his voice low and urgent. "Just breathe." The heat dulled instantly at the sound of his voice, like my body had been waiting for him. Relief left me trembling, but fear quickly followed. What's happening to me? My voice cracked, more a plea than a question. His jaw tightened. "You feel it because of me." I shook my head, not understanding. "Because of you." "What are you saying?" His gaze locked onto mine, steady and unflinching. "The bond has already begun." The word hit me like a blow. Bond. Something deeper than attraction, deeper than fate. I had heard whispers of I-told stories people laughed about, the kind of tales told around firesides to scare children. But hearing it from him made my stomach drop. "You can't mean—" "I do." His voice carried a weight that left no room for denial. "From the moment I saw you, the bond marked you. You're tied to me now." My heart pounded. Tied to what exactly? His eyes darkened, the faint glint of fangs showing in the lamplight. "To a creature you should never have crossed." The truth struck cold. He wasn't just dangerous, he wasn't human at all. "A vampire," I whispered, the word trembling off my lips. He didn't flinch. "Now do you see why I told you to stay away?" Fear twisted in me, but alongside it came something far more dangerous. Desire, because even as I recoiled, every part of me ached toward him. "This bond?" I said, forcing my voice steady. "What does it mean?" "It means you feel me, my hunger, my rage, my desire, and I feel yours." His voice roughened on the last word, his restraint stretched thin. "It means no matter how far you run, I will find you. And no matter how much I fight it, I will want you." My knees nearly buckled at the raw truth in his tone. Part of me wanted to scream, to deny it, to run until my lungs gave out. But another part, traitorous and desperate, wanted to close the distance between us, to see what it meant to be wanted by him, even if it destroyed me. Before I could answer, a sound split the night. A harsh laugh. I spun, and my blood ran cold. At the end of the street, 3 figures stepped into the dim light. Strangers, but not ordinary. Their eyes glowed faintly, unnatural. Their movements were sharp, predatory. Looks like the great Cale finally slipped. One of them sneered, his gaze flicking to me with hunger. Bringing a human into our world. How careless, Cale. So that was his name. It cut into me like a secret I was never meant to know. Cale's body shifted, all tension and threat. He stepped in front of me, shielding me completely. "She's not yours." The leader chuckled, baring sharp teeth. "Not yours either, unless you've claimed her." The words hung heavy between us, burning hotter than fire, claiming the bond. The danger suddenly felt larger than both of us. Cale growled low, a sound that vibrated through the air. "Leave now." But the others didn't move. One of them smiled at me, cruel and sharp. "Careful, little human. You don't know what you're standing next to." Before I could react, Cale reached back, his hand brushing mine. The contact was electric, burning and soothing all at once. His voice dropped, so only I could hear. "You need to trust me. I should have pulled away." Every instinct screamed at me to run. But my fingers curled against his, clinging to the only thing that felt real in the chaos. The 3 strangers stepped closer. The night thickened, heavy with threat. And for the first time, I realized I wasn't caught between danger and safety. I was caught between 2 different kinds of monsters, and I didn't know which one would destroy me first. The strangers moved closer, their steps slow and deliberate, like wolves circling prey. The streetlights flickered, and I realized just how quiet the town had become. No cars, no voices. Just the sound of my own heartbeat hammering in my chest. Cale tightened his grip on my hand. His voice was low, but every syllable was laced with command. "Stay behind me, no matter what." My throat was dry, but I nodded. I couldn't look away from the way his body shifted, his shoulders rigid, his presence swelling until the air itself seemed to bow to him. He was no longer just a man. He was something ancient, something powerful. And he was mine. The leader smirked, flashing teeth too sharp to belong to anything human. We only want a taste. She doesn't belong in your world, Kale. You know the rules. Kale's voice dropped to a growl. She belongs to no one. His fingers curled tighter around mine. As if to anchor the words in truth, the stranger laughed, a sound that sent shivers down my spine. Then why do I feel your bond on her? Why does she already carry your scent? I froze. His words hit me like a blade. My scent. My bond. What did that mean? I glanced at Kale. But his eyes stayed locked on the threat before us, and then everything happened at once. One of the strangers lunged. The world blurred as Kale moved faster than sight 1 second beside me, the next slamming the attacker into the pavement with a force that cracked stone. The other two rushed forward, and Kale met them with a ferocity that turned my blood to ice. Fangs bared, claws slicing through the night. He was terrifying, beautiful. Untamed, I should have run. Any sane person would have fled. But I couldn't. My body wouldn't move. My heart pounded with something more than fear. Watching him fight for me, something inside me broke open, something raw, unstoppable. One of the attackers slipped past him, rushing straight for me. I screamed, stumbling back, but before he could touch me, Kale was there, ripping him away with a snarl that shook the air. Blood sprayed across the cobblestones. I stared, trembling. Kale stood over the fallen vampire, chest heaving, eyes blazing. And when his gaze turned to me, it wasn't just hunger I saw. It was need. The others vanished into the night, dragging their wounded with them. But the danger didn't fade, because the real danger was still standing in front of Mikhail, wild and barely restrained. Are you hurt? His voice was rough, broken. I shook my head, though my knees were weak. No, but what are you? Before I could finish, he closed the distance between us, his hand cupping the side of my face. His touch was fire, burning through every nerve. His eyes locked on mine, torn between restraint and desire. You don't understand what you've done to me, he whispered. I've fought this bond with everything I have. But tonight, his breath brushed my lips, his control unraveling. Tonight, I almost lost you. My chest tightened, my breath catching. I should have stepped back. I should have demanded answers. But instead, my hands rose of their own accord, clutching the fabric of his shirt, pulling him closer. Kale. His name was a plea, a warning, and a surrender all at once, and then his lips crashed against mine. The world exploded. Heat surged through me, fierce and consuming, like every part of me had been waiting for this single moment. His kiss was hunger and desperation, possession and apology, all tangled into one. I melted into him, lost, ruined, alive. When he finally pulled back, his forehead rested against mine, his voice ragged. I can't let you go, no matter what it costs. I swallowed hard, dizzy from the fire he left on my lips. Then tell me the truth. What are you hiding from me? His eyes flickered with torment. He opened his mouth, then froze. His body went rigid, his head snapping toward the shadows at the end of the street. And that's when I saw them. Not three this time, dozens. Figures stepping out of the darkness, their eyes glowing like predators, their fangs bared in the dim light. A whole legion. My blood turned cold. The fight wasn't over. It had only just begun. The street was no longer empty. Shadows bled into the lamplight, one after another, until the road swarmed with glowing eyes and bared fangs. Dozens of them, moving with a predator's patience. My hand clutched Kale's shirt without meaning to. There are too many. His jaw tightened, his arms sweeping me behind him. I'll hold them off. No, you can't fight all of them. The panic in my voice cracked like glass. His eyes met mine, then dark. Burning, filled with something that stole the air from my lungs. I can if you give me your strength. What? My breath caught. The bond, he said, his voice harsh with urgency. It ties us. If you let it complete, I'll have the power to protect you. But once it's sealed, there's no undoing it. The words hit me like thunder. Complete the bond. Tie myself to him forever. To a vampire. To danger. To a man who had fought me, resisted me, and yet kissed me like his soul depended on it. I shook my head, trembling. What will it do to me? His expression broke anguish, flickering across his face. It could burn you from the inside, or it could make you stronger. I don't know. No human has ever survived it before. The truth crushed me. If I gave in, I might die. If I didn't, I would watch him be torn apart. And then they would come for me anyway. My deepest fear rose like a tide. Not dying, but being left behind. Being ordinary and powerless in a world that wanted me gone. Cale's hand brushed my cheek. Gentle, despite the storm raging around us. You don't owe me this. But if you choose me, choose Usa, I will fight until my last breath to keep you alive. The vampires closed in, their growls vibrating through the ground. I saw the hunger in their eyes, the promise of death. And suddenly, my choice was clear. I lifted my chin, heart pounding. Do it! Cale froze, shock flashing across his features. Are you certain? I'd rather die with you, I whispered, than live without you. Something broke in his gaze. Then, walls crumbling, restraint shattering. He pulled me against him, his mouth crashing onto mine in a kiss that seared my soul. His fangs grazed my lip, sharp and inevitable. The pain came like lightning. A sting, a burn, then a flood of fire surging through my veins. I gasped, clutching his shoulders as the bond roared to life inside me. My blood rushed into him, and in return, something vast and ancient poured into me. It was unbearable, terrifying, beautiful. The world exploded in color. Every shadow sharper, every heartbeat a drumbeat in my chest. I felt him Cal inside me, his rage, his hunger, his desperate love. He wasn't just beside me anymore. He was part of me. The Legion roared and attacked. Cale turned with a fury that stole my breath. His power erupted, dark and unstoppable. Where he struck, vampires fell, their screams piercing the night. And through the bond, I felt it the way my strength surged into him, the way my heartbeat steadied his. We moved as one. For a moment, it seemed we could win. The street burned with our defiance. Every strike of his claws echoed by the thundering of my heart. But then the leader stepped forward. Taller, stronger, his presence suffocating. His eyes glowed crimson, older and crueler than the others. You've broken the law, Cale, he thundered. A human bound. You've doomed her. He lunged faster than I could see. Cale met him, their clash, shaking the ground. They fought like titans, each blow ripping through stone and air. Through the bond, I felt Cale falter. Pain lanced through my body as if it were my own. He was losing, no. I screamed, the fire inside me flaring. I didn't know what I was doing, only that I couldn't let him fall. I reached for the bond, for the blaze inside my veins, and pushed it outward with everything I had. Light erupted from me, white and searing. The leader staggered back, hissing, shielding his face. For a heartbeat, the street went silent. Even Cale froze, staring at me with disbelief. I was glowing. The bond hadn't killed me. It had changed me. But the cost was immediate. My legs buckled, my chest tightening like a vice. The fire burned too hot, threatening to consume me from the inside. Cale caught me before I hit the ground, his arms wrapping around me, his voice raw. Stay with me. Don't you dare leave me now. The leader's snarl echoed in the distance. This isn't over. The council will hunt you both. Then he vanished into the night, his legions scattering with him. Silence fell. The battle was over, but nothing felt victorious. Cale's arms trembled around me, his forehead pressed to mine. You gave me everything, he whispered. And now I might lose you. My vision blurred, my body weak, but I managed a broken smile. You won't. I'm not letting go. The bond pulsed between us, fierce and fragile. We were alive but hunted, changed, but uncertain of the cost. And as the night closed around us, I knew one truth. Nothing would ever be the same again. The night air was heavy, almost too quiet after the chaos. Cale still held me, his arms trembling, his forehead pressed to mine as if he could keep me breathing just by will alone. I could feel the bond between us, glowing and alive, pulling our souls tighter with every beat of my heart. But that same fire scorched through me, threatening to consume what was left of my strength. "Don't speak," Cale whispered, his voice breaking. "Save your strength." But I had to speak, Cale. We survived. His eyes closed, pain etched into his features. "For now, the council won't let this stand. You've become what they fear most, a human who lived through the bond." The words sank in like ice. I wasn't fully human anymore. I wasn't one of them, or one of his kind. I was something in between. Something dangerous. I should have been afraid. But as I looked at him, the man who had fought for me, the man who had risked everything to save me, all I felt was clarity. "We don't run," I whispered. "Not from them. Not from fate. We face it." Cale's gaze locked onto mine, raw and unguarded. "You would fight their world for me." For us, my hand touched his cheek, trembling but steady enough to show I meant it. For a long moment, neither of us moved. Then his lips brushed, mine soft, reverent, filled with all the words he hadn't spoken. It wasn't the desperate kiss of before. It was a promise. But the fire inside me flared again, and I cried out, clutching my chest. Cale's arms tightened around me instantly. "The bond is still unstable," he murmured. "Your body is fighting it. Then make it stop." I gasped, tears springing to my eyes. His jaw clenched. "There's only one way. I have to finish it." Completely, fear surged through me. "What happens if you do?" "You'll stop being human." His voice was hoarse, heavy with grief. "The life you had will end. You'll belong to me forever." The weight of his words crashed over me. My home, my family, the girl I had been before tonight would lose it all. And yet, when I thought of going back, of living without him, my chest ached in a way no fire could match. Belonged to him. The thought should have terrified me. Instead, it felt like the only truth I had left. I lifted my head, meeting his gaze. "Then do it. I choose you." His breath caught, his eyes widening as if he couldn't believe what I was saying. "You don't understand what you're giving up." "I do," I whispered. "But I'd rather live one forever with you than a lifetime without you." The silence between us shattered. He kissed me again, deeper this time, his hands trembling as they cradled my face. And then I felt his fangs pierce me, sharp and inevitable. The pain came first, but then the fire shifted. It no longer burned me. It consumed me and remade me, light and darkness twining inside my veins. My heartbeat slowed, then thundered back stronger, matched perfectly with his dot, and then it was done. I collapsed into him, breathless, changed. The night smelled different, every sound sharp, every shadow alive. I wasn't human anymore. I was something more, and he was bound to me as surely as I was to him. Cale pulled back, his eyes shining like I had never seen before. "You're mine," he whispered, wonder in his voice. "And I'm yours." The bond pulsed between us, steady and eternal. But the moment couldn't last. In the distance, the sound of wings cut through the silence. The council was coming. Cale stood, helping me to my feet, his hand never leaving mine. "They'll try to tear us apart. They'll try to end this before it begins." I squeezed his hand, the fire in me steady now. No longer chaos, but strength. Let them try. And for the first time, I believed it. We weren't prey anymore. We were power, together. The sky split with shadows as the council descended, their presence vast and suffocating. But I didn't hide behind Cale this time. I stepped forward, my eyes glowing with the fire of the bond. My voice steady as I spoke into the night. "You'll have to kill me to break this." The council hissed, their voices rising like a storm. But Cale's hand tightened around mine. And through the bond I felt his pride, his love, his unshakable vow. We were no longer two souls fighting fate. We were one, whatever came next. Whatever trials or battles waited in the shadows, I knew we would face them together. And as the darkness closed in around us, one thought burned clear in my heart. Love was never meant to be safe. It was meant to be eternal.